Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and you're watching another episode of Sportsminute tonight. I'm joined by my co-host for the evening, none other than Mr. Big Game James. James, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I hate technology.
All right, I'm right there with you. And then of course, he likes his bacon crispy, Mr. Crispy Bacon. How you doing tonight, my man?
Doing good. Yeah, technology can be frustrating at times, but we're here, so.
All right. And we know that Mr. Big B will not be with us tonight, but tonight we do have some great topics for you. And actually, one of them I will say is probably kind of maybe a little bit surprising in a way, is that this past week we found out that DeAndre Hopkins has decided to go ahead and sign with the Tennessee Titans. For people DeAndre Hopkins closely, and they're like, where's gonna
Chris, it sounds like we
Yeah.
lost. Maybe
Can you hear
if
me?
we can. Now you
Yeah,
can.
we can hear you now.
All right, I'm back now. All right, yeah. So if people follow DeAndre Hopkins closely, I don't think a lot of people expected DeAndre to sign with the Titans. But we know now that guess where DeAndre Hopkins decided to sign. He decided to sign. He decided to sign with the Tennessee Titans, and now people are actually sharing, being like, well, they look. And the thing is people were sharing pictures of this is the Titans offense now. They have Derrick Henry and Traylon Burks and now DeAndre Hopkins. And the problem is look, yes, they do have some young receivers out there, but DeAndre Hopkins being the veteran, I think the one thing that DeAndre Hopkins can do is he can kind of take that the defense's number one corner, and they're going to be on DeAndre, which is going to open up people like Traylon Burks, and can they stack the boxes anymore because of DeAndre Hopkins being out there and focus on Derrick Henry? Well, my opinion about that one is the quarterback is still Ryan Tannehill, so they still don't have a great quarterback. He's not top 10, maybe a stretch, maybe top 15, but he's definitely not a top 10 quarterback. So, James, when we talk about DeAndre signing with Tennessee, how much of a shock did this come to you?
I look at his age at 31. That's kind of old for a receiver, especially with one that has his talent. So I looked at it at a sense of like, okay, the Titans were the only team that was going to give him that money. And when I look at it, it was a 2-year deal, $15 million. It's $12 million base salary. It could go up to 15 with incentives. So this was a money grab. We all thought, elsewhere, New England, which I think he didn't choose New England, and they could have offered him the same, and they did offer him the same. April? Kansas City offered him a contract, and still he held out to see who would pay the most, and Tennessee did. The thing with New England, I feel like he didn't go there because they already have so many different other targets there, like Juju Smith-Schuster, Bourne, the two tight ends, Henry and Gesicki. and there's Stevenson coming out of the backfield, and then there's another receiver there. I feel like he didn't go
Jacoby
there.
Myers.
No, he went to the Raiders. Shockingly,
Oh yes, he
I
did.
wasn't happy
You're
about
right.
that.
Yeah, you're right.
He's going to throw the ball backwards for the Raiders now instead of for New England.
Oh, you're thinking of Parker.
Devontae Parker, yeah.
Yes, yeah, you're thinking of Parker.
Yeah. It's not like I didn't talk about this yesterday and I forgot. Of course I did. No, look, I just think he wouldn't get the touches in New England. That's why he didn't go. And then if he thought Mac Jones wasn't a, good quarterback he could get passes from, like you mentioned, Ryan Tannehill's there, Malik Willis is there, and Will Levis is there. And the last time I heard, Willis was doing better than Levis.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell's going on? There was nothing that said Malik could play in the league right now. Ryan Tannehill's often injured and just really bad. Treylon Brooks and Westbrook Ickenline they're players. They're young. They're there, but it doesn't stop them. It doesn't make them good. I don't care if DeAndre Hopkins is there. He's been banged up. He's not the same. We found out he does the PEDs, so that's why he was good from before, I want to say. Now he can't do that. So he's not going to be as good probably. Again, I really wanted him to go to the Chiefs or the Jets just to have a chance at winning. But it was a total money grab.
Yeah, and it's like you said, though. So some people, they might go and they might sign with, a contender because they might be chasing a ring. Well, this goes to show you that maybe DeAndre Hopkins is not necessarily chasing a ring unless he truly feels like Tennessee can get there. But even though they have young receivers, they don't have a great quarterback. Derrick Henry's about the best thing they got going for him. Tennessee certainly in the heck does not have a defense. So, and that's another knock on Tennessee also. So for DeAndre, I think, James, you got that 100% right. This is a money grab. He looked at the situation and said, how much can I get? Oh, I can get this. Boom. I'm grabbing it and I'm taking it to the bank because Tennessee is the one that's going to give me the most money. But if New England offered him that same amount, like you said, you're probably right. They had a little bit more weapons in New England, so he wasn't going to get as many touches. In Tennessee, it's going to basically be him and Treylon Burks. All right, so Crispy Bacon, what's your thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins going to Tennessee?
Yeah, I was surprised he picked Tennessee. I know it was one of his options, though, but I think everybody thought that he'd go to like Kansas City or some dominant, big dominant team. Ryan Tannehill, he's an experienced quarterback, but I think he's on his last few years of, being an active NFL quarterback, and no matter who you put out there in Tennessee, it's going to be some learning curves, and I think at this point you kind of have to have preseason for that, even though it's been cut down. But preseason and practice is probably your main points for it. But it was definitely interesting that he picked Tennessee over some other team.
Yeah, I had honestly, and I know we talked about this before, and I honestly thought that he was going to end up going to the Jets. I thought that the Jets was going to be probably the number one option because it seemed like the Jets were signing everybody. So I was like, well, the Jets are going after everybody, so DeAndre is going to be no less. Like I figured that's where DeAndre was going to go, and then I figured that's where Dalvin. Yeah, and Tim was saying, can you imagine if AJ Brown was still there? And I think that because they traded Brown, I think that this is like, oh crap, we traded Brown, now we need to get somebody for Brown, and they're maybe thinking that Hopkins is the answer. But Brown, the difference is Hopkins isn't young anymore, and Brown still is. So that's the difference. Brown's young, Hopkins ain't. So Tennessee definitely made the wrong decision there. Because if they had Brown, Hopkins, and Burks, imagine that. And even if they were to keep like Corey Davis there when Corey Davis was there, that would still be a heck of a receiving core. But we know how Tennessee is. Tennessee, the one guy that I'll say that I feel bad for on Tennessee is Derrick Henry. That's the one guy that I feel bad for, because we all know that that's kind of Tennessee's money guy right there. They fall back on Derrick Henry every single game. But I guess that's enough on the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry. We can jump into our next topic, which there was kind of rumors floating around about Kirk Cousins, how his contract expires after the season, and will he go back to Minnesota? Will he not? Look, my honest opinion about Kirk is, when you look at Kirk's numbers overall, Kirk he's not terrible. You know, he completes about 67% of his passes. He throws for over 4,000 yards. He averages about 29 to 30 touchdowns a season, with sometimes, 12 or less picks, depends on the season, but he hasn't been terrible. I think the biggest thing is to where he's really struggled when he was in Washington, when he was in Minnesota. Everybody talks about it. His biggest struggle is primetime games. We know that when it comes around to primetime games, I don't know what it is, but he does not play well in primetime games at all.
No.
And that's been the biggest knock on Kirk Cousins. Now, if they're going to go away from Kirk Cousins, who's that guy? Who's going to come in and who's going to take Kirk's spot? Because right now he's not. I understand he's not young and the whole primetime game issue, but who's behind him? Who can come in and fill in for Kirk Cousins? Right now, they don't really have anybody. They drafted Kellen Mond a few years back, but he's gone. They let him go. So right now, there's really nobody there. So we have a few comments that are streaming in here. Cousins is born to choke in primetime. Only other team he would fit on is the Cowboys. And Crispy, the answer is yes on that.
Okay.
But yeah, so James, what's your thought with Kirk Cousins? Do you think that Minnesota would be making the right decision by moving away from Kirk Cousins?
Man, this is such a loaded question, because it almost has me feeling like the Derek Carr situation last season, right? How it was a prove-it year, and they basically told him to go home before the last two games were over with. I hope we don't have a situation like that with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. But the pressure is all on Kirk. I mean, they have Matheson as a serviceable running back. You have Jefferson, Rieger, Osborne, Hawkinson.
Addison now?
Yeah, Jordan Addison, the rookie from USC. Mm-hmm. And I watched like all of his games, so I know he's really good. That's why I put him last, because I feel like he won't get as much attention as Osborne and Rieger, but he's going to break out, I feel like Addison. Cousins, like you mentioned, he puts up great numbers. He did last year, better than others. We have a problem in the NFL where half of the league has really bad quarterbacks. We just talked about the Titans that have a quarterback problem. The Vikings don't have one with Kirk Cousins. It's just all about those big games, like you mentioned. If he messes around and wins the whole thing this year, he could be celebrated like Matthew Stafford in a way, finally getting his. And I think that'd be an awesome thing. The division now, without Rodgers in it, is winnable. I think that's easy to say there. So I think it's all on Cousins. It's all on the others to catch the ball and do something with it. So it's going to be a real big deal. The only thing, getting back to your question though, is like, okay, you'd have to figure out in the draft, you'd have to trade up for a quarterback. There's Jaron Hall, that's the third string. Nick Mullins is your backup. We remember they had Case Keenum before.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, they led him to wherever, the divisional round. But
AFC championship.
was it?
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
they lost against the Saints.
Oh, yeah, they beat the Saints and lost to Philadelphia, I want to say.
No. They lost to. Yes.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was.
I do
I thought it
remember
was
that.
Philadelphia and then the Saints.
Well, anyway, it'd just be like the Raiders situation where it's just like, hey, if you feel like there's something better out there, go get it. But if not, don't make the mistake the Raiders did and get a lesser quarterback like Jimmy G. Just don't be that. Don't be what the Raiders were this offseason and disrespect Kirk Cousins, bench him, make his wife cry, and then he's gone. You don't want a situation like that, like the Raiders have had. So they should keep him around. First, see how much he demands. We'll see how much, if it's a car contract or, Rodgers, lesser than Rodgers' deal. It would be lesser than Mahomes because he's 34 years old. So I'd keep him around just because are you going to do any better with that position? I don't think you can.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I went back and forth on too when I was really thinking about it. Is because right now, look, when you look at the NFC, we know that a lot of the quarterback talent currently is over in the AFC. That's where a lot of the talent is. The NFC right now is so wide open. A lot of teams don't know what they have, and so when you look at Kirk Cousins currently, like. It's hard to say this because I'm not really a Kirk Cousins fan myself, but when you look at it, you almost have to put Kirk in the top 5 in the NFC because you almost have to because you can put Hurts. Hurts is out there. He's definitely a top 5 currently. When Matthew Stafford is healthy, Stafford I would almost put in the top 5 when he's healthy. And
Dak.
playing like what?
Dak.
Nope. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Jared Goff.
Currently, NFC, yeah.
Yeah.
I probably would put him in the top 5
Hell yeah.
with quarterbacks out there right now. And it pains me to say it, but it's probably the truth. So with Kirk Cousins, you're right though. Where is the answer from Minnesota if they move away from Kirk? Because then they're going to be doing what a lot of these other teams are doing. They're drafting quarterbacks, they're going young, and they're seeing if these quarterbacks will develop. That's hard though. That's really, really hard because you don't know what you're getting from a lot of these quarterbacks now. So if I'm Minnesota, you have to stick with Cousins. But we know that Big B is a Vikings fan, and he's already said a lot of the higher ups said they're ready to move on. Like they are ready to move past Cousins after the season, and they're ready to go young. But it's a tough one. If I'm the owner of the Vikings, if I'm the GM of the Vikings, like it's a tough decision because when you look at the draft coming up, is there really any stellar quarterbacks that you really think that you're like, that's my guy right there? That's my guy. And what would you be willing to give up to go up and get him? That's the problem. If you make the playoffs, you're going to be drafting in the 20s, and you would have to move all the way up to get a great quarterback. So, all right, Crispy, what's your thoughts?
I say you have to stick with him. Looking at his contract, he's at least signed up until 2028.
Mm-hmm.
Each year his cap hit, increases except for I want to say 2020. like it's going to go up for many years. They don't have enough, I guess, cap space to let him go. They're going to have to live with him for a little bit.
All right. Well, we do have a comment here that says, yeah, right now, currently, they would actually put Kirk Cousins as top 3 in the NFC due to lack of quarterback talent that's in the NFC currently. But mess around.
Hey, what's up?
If you're the Vikings, hey, what's going on? If you're the Vikings, and there's a lot of speculation saying that the Vikings right now are going to move on from Cousins after the season. Would you move on from Cousins knowing right now that you don't have a replacement?
No, you got to keep him until you find a guy to replace him. I mean, who are they going to move on to? They don't have. They drafted Kellen Mond 2 years ago, and they traded him the following season to Cleveland. So they don't really have a backup to plan in place to replace him. So until they get one, they're going to have to keep him.
Right. But that's around. It's like we were saying here. I think the biggest problem that Minnesota is having is Kirk is not good in primetime games. When the lights are on, he's not good. And I think that's the biggest issue that Minnesota is having, is they're worried that Kirk cannot get them to the big game because in primetime he's not good.
Well, yeah, that's true. He never really was. He like 1-9 in primetime games, so
yeah, he's not good.
And the only team he beat in primetime was my Bears, so that he didn't even really beat a good team in primetime.
I think he beat Dallas in primetime.
Oh, did he beat Dallas too? Okay, so maybe he's won 2 games.
No, Crispy, are you talking about the game that he lost to Cooper Rush?
Probably.
Cooper Rush beat him in a primetime game.
Thanksgiving.
He beat him in a primetime game. That is the problem that we're talking about with Kirk Cousins.
So I'm looking it up. Kirk Cousins played in 17 primetime games. He won 7 of them. He's 7-10.
I'm trying to think here. Well, so I know he's won a playoff game because he beat the Saints 1 year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So he's won one of those.
I thought they lost that one.
No, they beat the Saints in overtime in the playoffs. There was one game where they beat the Saints in overtime,
it
and that
Rams
was
I'm thinking of. It was the Rams.
Yeah, that was his one playoff win. And I believe that's J-Mac that is commenting, that's saying, name 3 quarterbacks in the NFC that are better. Well, I can tell you one is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is better.
Stafford.
Yeah, maybe a year ago. I don't think he is anymore.
When Stafford, the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl, I would have absolutely said Stafford, yes. Right now, I don't think so. Not currently.
No.
But Jalen Hurts, yes. By running through all the quarterbacks in my head, I'm not going to say that Derek Carr is better. I'm not. I'm just not going to do that.
Daniel Jones.
No, Daniel Jones, no.
I need more info.
Dak Prescott.
No.
Jordan Love to be determined.
To be determined. Don't know.
Well, if you ask the Packers, yes, but
don't know. But I think they're right. Like, truly, when you think about it, you don't know 3 quarterbacks right now in the NFC that are better. So he probably is right there in number 3. So yeah, so Minnesota would not be smart right now to move on from Kirk Cousins. And Isaiah is chiming in saying, if I'm the Vikings, I would extend. I would dead serious roll with Nick Mullins after this year. I draft Will Rogers from Mississippi State and Tyler Van Dyke from Miami. Easy. Purdy Hurts Carr. Are you kidding me? You're already trying to say that Brock Purdy is better
I don't know that.
What happened to Lance? Trey Lance.
He's off that train.
We love Trey Lance.
Isaiah's off that train now. He's got a new thing now, and his new thing is Brock. So yeah,
flavor of the month.
Yep, he's now off that train. So, are you serious though, Will Rogers, and you're gonna go with Nick Mullins after this season? Are you kidding me?
What's Nick Mullins done?
Get drafted. Just kidding.
Nick Mullins hasn't done it. Nick Mullins has had a few. If you remember his first career start, and when he came in and threw 3 touchdowns, and everybody was like, "Oh, Nick Mullins looks really, really good." I'm like, "Yeah, but 2 of them should have been intercepted," and they weren't. So
Purdy was probably a top 4 in rookie class, but not overall. No.
Yeah, but it's there. All right. So moving away from that topic, let's go into the next one, and we will talk about we know now, and I can't even believe that this is a thing, because I'm looking at this going, I don't understand the point of it. I really don't. But the in-season tournament in the NBA, I can't fathom. I don't understand what the point of it is. To me, it's completely pointless. I guess game, because honestly, on this one, I'm kind of speechless, because I guess some people are okay with it, but I just think it's dumb. So, James, what's your thoughts on this in-season tournament in the NBA?
You know what I'm going to be doing during that time?
Sleeping?
Not watching it?
Sleeping. No, I'm going to ask to work double shifts so I can avoid caring about it at all. I don't care if there's a cup to it and there's cash prizes and all that and a trip to Vegas. I don't care at all. If I was once Wemba stopped playing in the summer league, I stopped watching that. And I feel like this is kind of a tournament. It's a tournament, but the thing is, how many players are going to want to play in it? And the ones that make the less money want to win that because there's money involved. The players that already get those, top contracts, they don't. I don't think they really care about this, but they care more about the playoffs. So
yeah,
this is just. And they said the what is it? The group draw results were randomly selected, and I don't believe that to be the case for East and West. They went with sort of the popular matchups, but I'm definitely not going to watch it. I just feel like they're trying to make the regular season exciting when all they have to do is just shorten it, and then really that's all they can do. Honestly, they tried to play in, which I guess it works. It gives a chance for those teams like Miami and the Lakers to get a chance to go all the way, which both almost did. But I was okay just with the play-in tournament. I don't care anything about this in-season tournament. And it's early in the year. I guess it's the time usually when, especially when I know following the Clippers, when those big players don't want to play. When a lot of players just sit out. So they're hoping to capitalize on that and making players play in this tournament where it's really confusing too. All of the different seedings and the pool plays and all that. It's really confusing. So I gotta see how it goes before I can really judge it. But yeah, I'm not really interested into it. I just want the playoffs and I want the finals. I don't care about an in-season tournament. I think they do the same in soccer. They got this from soccer, European soccer, I say. But I don't watch that, and I'm probably not going to watch this.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
Even the NHL was talking about doing a in-season tournament.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
But the committee shot it down and said no. They voted no on it, so they chose not to. So the NBA said, nope, we're not doing it. Once they saw the NBA do it, they're like, oh, it's a great idea. Next thing you know, the MLB is going to be doing it now. And I'm like for the love of God, don't have the MLB doing it. But to me, honestly, when it comes down to it, this could be a whole nother thing. So let's say the Lakers don't make the finals this year, right? But they win the in-season tournament. You can have a bunch of fans going, well, the Lakers won the in-season tournament, so we won. We got something. We got that cup. Nobody cares, man. Nobody's going to give a crap about this cup. No one's going to care. It's all about what the NBA finals is, honestly. But,
yeah.
Crispy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the WNBA has an in-season tournament, and they did that a few years ago. And it's kind of like, I think, like an in-season tournament. I think the WNBA has it. They did that a few years ago or added it in.
Yeah.
And I think they're looking at what the NBA is thinking of successful.
But the point is, there's still no point, though.
No, there's not.
There's not.
But they see something that they like, so they want to adapt it.
Mm-hmm. So, Messeron, what's your thoughts on this in-season tournament?
dumbest thing ever. Like, all it does is add more games to the players and more chance for your stars to get injured. And another thing, it's just a money grab for the NBA. More chance for them to make money. That's all it is. They don't care about the cup.
Well, they probably lost a lot of money, too.
Your regular season games are part of that tournament, so you're not adding games. Those games that you play in the regular season are tournament games.
Yeah.
You don't specify which is a tournament game.
Yeah, and even Isaiah's saying, and this is the one thing that I do agree with Isaiah on, is he's saying he guarantees that the big stars are not going to want to play.
No. That should be the time to rest, if anything.
And they're probably not going to, because with these big stars, especially the ones that make all this money, they're going to be like, oh, okay, whoever doesn't make all this money, whoever makes the league minimum or their contracts are not very high, if they care about the extra money, they can go play. I'm just saying, like, that might be what you see a lot of. It'll almost be like preseason basketball in a way.
But just remember, didn't they add a rule that you have to play so many games to get like MVP or something like that?
Yeah, so Isaiah's saying that Josh Giddey is going to win MVP.
Who cares?
Who's Josh Giddey? Who?
I don't know.
Josh Giddey. And honestly, nobody cares. Do you think anybody's going to celebrate that somebody won the in-season basketball tournament MVP? No.
Yeah, I'd be like, congratulations, don't really care.
Nobody's going to give a crap. Nobody's going to give a crap about the cup. Nobody's going to give a crap about whoever wins the MVP. And I think
nobody cares.
Huh?
It's like getting employee of the month at work. Nobody cares.
Right.
But I think we're all on the same page that maybe the NBA will look at this and be like, okay, there's not a lot of interest in this in-season tournament, so let's move on. We'll find out, but I just don't think that there's going to be. All right, so moving on to our next topic here. We are talking about and this next topic, I did not think this far in the season we would be talking about this. But we are talking about the white hot first place Baltimore Orioles in the AL East, man. This team, I think, look, people knew halfway through last year they were kind of right there in the playoff race, and they were kind of making some noise, and then they dropped off towards the end of the season. But this year, man, these guys right now are on a whole nother level. This team's young, they're hungry, they're playing really good ball. So James, I'm gonna go ahead and start out with you on this one too. Your thoughts of this Baltimore Orioles start dying off.
Yeah, I really enjoy what they're doing. They're ahead of schedule. Ollie Rutschman, being a top pick like he is, he's doing awesome. Gunnar Henderson, and they have more coming. They have Matt Holliday's son, I believe, in single A, and he showed out definitely in the futures game. So they have so many things going for them. Not only right now with Santander and Hayes, those are underrated outfielders. And Hayes, he got the All-Star nod. I thought Santander should have got the All-Star nod myself personally. But they have Urias at third base is really good. Mateo's really fast. And this is without Mullins, too. He's injured, I believe. But Cedric Mullins is awesome. Him and Mateo, when you think about it, 1 and 9 in the order, you get speed pretty much all over the lineup. And that's really good. They have young starting pitching. But what sets them apart is their bullpen. They're 7, 8, 9 guys. And it's great to see finally a bullpen that's set. You know when you're coming in. From my experience with the Angels, that's how it used to be. It isn't now. But they have Colom coming in the 7th, Cano in the 8th, and Batista in the 9th. When you have those 3 missiles coming at you, you're bound to lose games late. And that's really great to see with the Orioles. Remember, they suffered a long time. And they always had, bottom 5 records turning into top 5 picks, usually first picks. So it's great to see all this bloom up like flowers. I really like what they're doing. And something that is was said today, I believe Sarah Langs mentioned the Orioles in most consecutive series, 2 games or more without being swept.
70.
70 series. So that's coming from 2022 to right now, where they haven't been swept. So I think that's a great thing. That is good for, I think, 8th all time. And there's 3 teams ahead of them, including the 03 to 05 Braves, that went 72 consecutive series without being swept. So that's a little history there, and it shows you just what they're doing is really cool. They're winning games by speed, but again, that bullpen is awesome. And I think this too, and you're kind of seeing this with the Cincinnati Reds, where they're young and up and coming, and they're bringing up all their guys. And Joey Votto's slowly going out of the door in his contract, thank God. So they don't have the pitching yet. They have Hunter Green, but he's injured. But they have more coming. So maybe the Reds are maybe on that path like Cincinnati, or like Baltimore was last year, where they made a surprise last year, where they were only games out of the wild card. Even though they were sellers at the deadline, they made up for it and are doing well the following season, this season. Maybe the Reds can do that this season and fall out, but still be good for the future. So look out for the Reds to do what the Orioles are doing now next year.
Okay, so, and long story short, with I think the question that I was trying to get you to answer, though, was, do you feel like they're going to be contenders? Do you feel like they could be one of the final 2 teams?
I think you were going out.
Okay.
Do you think they're contenders?
Okay. My question was, do you think that the Orioles could be one of the final 2 in the AL?
Yeah, they are. Dude, when you think about it, Ace, it's kind of a easy question to answer because, well, they're at the top of the best division in the majors right now, where everybody's above 500. Even the last place Yankees, the Angels swept them today. By the way, that's not wearing the shirt. When your whole division is above 500 and you're at the top of that, that speaks that you're a contender. So that's a simple yes.
Okay, perfect. And Isaiah's saying that he's hoping that the A's are gonna do that next year.
Huh?
Yeah,
We're at.
Yeah,
we're
at. And J-Mac is also saying, well, the Pirates this year started the same way, and the Pirates died off fast.
I knew that was going to happen. I said they'll be good the first couple of months, but then they'll finally fall out, and it's happening sadly. But look at the Diamondbacks. They're kind of doing the same thing like the Orioles and the Reds are doing. Those three teams are so fun to watch.
They are. Mess around. Your thoughts on the Orioles?
You know, it's funny. We were talking about this the other day. The Orioles, believe it or not, still have the number one farm system in baseball. So they're only going to keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I think they are contenders. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the AL Championship, even go to the World Series. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see Baltimore win it, though, because they've been terrible, like James said, for years.
Yeah, what I'm hoping, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just hoping that Baltimore doesn't have this epic collapse. I don't think it'll happen, but it's like James had mentioned at the beginning about the Pirates, to where they started off really, really strong, and then they just went on this massive losing streak and just died off and just went completely gone. And but I think at the beginning of the season, that was the biggest surprise was the Pirates, and wondering if the Pirates could sustain that, and we saw that they very well could not. So Crispy Bacon, your thoughts on the Orioles?
No, Orioles are really doing good. There's a lot of teams out there that I think we were kind of hoping or surprised that are doing really, really well. Tampa Bay had a strong start. Texas had a strong start, kind of backed off a little. Now are having another strong start. There are several teams that are continuing to have great starts. I think Baltimore can be a contender this year and maybe for the remainder of the regular season.
So, James, J-Mac is saying Angels wasting talent since 2003.
I have no response to that.
You have no response to that.
More like 2012, 2013, but yeah. We were one of the winners a long time ago, but I forgot how that feels.
No, so Ish is saying, Isaiah, didn't you post recently that you wanted the A's to trade like 3 or 4 first-round picks to get the Tigers GM to be the A's GM? What?
I don't remember that one.
Why are we talking about Isaiah?
I don't know, because that guy posted that or whatever. So I just
ban him.
Right. Now, will Baltimore win the AL East? I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with that Baltimore is going to win the AL East. Tampa Bay is right there, but I think that with the way that Baltimore's been playing, they're going to win the AL East. So since it's right after the All-Star break, we can make our predictions now, and our final kind of predictions for who we think is going to win each division. So, Crispy, we'll go ahead and start out with you. Of course, we're going to go ahead and start out with the AL East. Who to you is going to win the AL East?
Ooh.
Okay.
Is it going to be the Orioles? Is it going to be Tampa? Huh?
I'm going to go Tampa. I feel like they had a quick head start.
All right.
So to speak.
Crispy's going with Tampa. Mess around. Who are you taking in the AL East?
I'm going to lock in the Orioles.
All right. Mess around's taking the Orioles also. James.
Sure, the Orioles.
All right, you're taking the Orioles too. Okay. How about the AL Central? And mess around, I'll start with you. Who's winning the Central?
Not my White Sox.
So you're abandoning them. Okay, you're saying not the White Sox. Okay.
I'm gonna say the Guardians.
All right, you're going with the Guardians. All right, James.
I had Cleveland, but I guess it depends what happens on the trade deadline. Oh God, Cleveland's lost so much pitching wise. I have to go with Minnesota.
Well, James, you're taking my pick because I was going to go with Minnesota too. I think in the end, I think Minnesota just has the slightly better pitching. So I think that's what's going to get Minnesota over that hump. So, all right. So, James, you get to kick us off with the next division. The final.
It's the Angels, of course.
You're going with the Angels?
No, give me... Damn. I have somebody saying that Texas is going to fall, Chris, but I don't think so. For some reason... Yeah, that just shows how idiotic his take was. I said Texas would be good all year. I didn't think they would be in first place this much. But I think Houston will win the division.
Oh, so you're going with
They're going to make the moves. They need a left-handed reliever or starter or both. And then they might need some more offensive power. So they're going to go get that. So that'll take them over Texas, I would think.
All right. I am going to stick with my pick of the Texas Rangers. I said at the beginning of the season, I'm sticking with it. So mess around. Is he there?
He's stuck.
No.
He's gone. All right. Crispy, are you taking your Texas Rangers?
I am. Take the Rangers.
And J-Mac is saying, just think the Rangers signed DeGrom and did it without him.
I'm going with the Astros.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So mess around. So we have 2 Astros and 2 Rangers. All right. I like it. All right. So we can jump to the NL side now, the NL West. All right. Crispy, the NL West. Who are you taking in the NL West?
We'll go Braves.
That's the East.
Oh.
We're talking about the West. It's the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Giants.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah. We'll go Dodgers.
Dodgers. Mess around.
I'm gonna go with the Diamondbacks.
Wow. Okay. All right, James.
San Diego. No, I'm just kidding. Let me go with LA, but I hope Arizona and San Francisco does it.
That's your hopeful pick.
Yep. I am actually taking. I'm going to say that the Giants in the end are going to win the West. So, all right. So let's go to the NL Central. This division's kind of been crazy. This has been a very loopy division between the Brewers and the Reds. So it's kind of been back and forth there. James, who you taking in the NL in the NL Central?
Milwaukee. I think they showed what was it? The last weekend they played in Cincinnati and Milwaukee swept them 3 straight. So I think that's going to continue. Milwaukee's going to win that division. All
right, mess around.
I'm going to go with the Reds. I think they're going to go out and they're going to get some help at the deadline. They got the prospects to make trades, so I'm going to say they make a big splash during trade deadline and push them over the top.
All right. Crispy.
Yeah, I'm going with Milwaukee Brewers.
All right, you're taking the Brewers. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Brewers also. I just think the Brewers have a little bit better pitching. I know that that's one thing that the Reds are struggling with right now is pitching. So I'll go ahead and take the Brewers. The NL East, yeah, Atlanta's going through a little bit of a funk at the moment, but every team during the season has a funk. But I'm still sticking with them. I still think that they're the best team currently in the NL East. So I'm still sticking with Atlanta. James?
Washington. Let me get the Braves by at least 8.
All right. Mess around.
Oh, it's easy. It's the Braves, unless they have an epic collapse, which I don't see happening because they're 9.5 games up on the second place team. So,
all right, and then Crispy.
Yeah, I'm going with the Braves.
All right. So we have division winners. So now we look at the AL and then we talk about our wild cards. Who's going to sneak in those wild card spots? James, who's going to get those wild card spots in the AL?
The Angels? No. Let me get the 3 that are in there right now.
All right.
Tampa Bay, Houston, and Toronto. I feel like those 3 are going to be in there.
So you're sticking with the 3 that are currently there? Yeah. All right. Mess around.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It would be Texas instead of Houston because Houston would be in first. So okay, Texas technically would have the wild card.
All right. So you're going with Texas and Toronto?
Tampa Bay, Texas, and Toronto.
And Toronto. Okay. All right. Mess around.
I'll go with Texas, Toronto, and the Twins.
So you're actually going with the Twins in a wild card spot?
Yeah, because the Guardians win the division.
Oh, yeah. Dave, they're way down there.
Yeah. The only reason. All right. If Mess Around feels good about it, hey, I'm all for it. But understand, dude, that the Twins are. I don't think anybody.
Okay, then I'll take the Braves in that last spot then.
Because I was going to say, there's no way that division's having 2 playoff teams. There's just no way.
You have so many Braves.
All right, Crispy.
Sorry, I had an Isaiah moment there.
Your wild card teams.
Texas, Toronto, and Tampa.
I'm going with Houston because I had Texas winning their division, so I got to go with Houston, Toronto, and Tampa are going to be my 3 wild cards. Now we go to the NL. Who is going to be your NL wild card teams? Now this might get jumbled up quite a bit here. James, who's your NL wild card teams?
Oof. Arizona. Oh man, do I trust Arizona? Yeah. Okay, because they're gonna get somebody. Arizona, Philadelphia, San Diego.
So, all right. So Isaiah's saying that the Marlins are going to win the East.
No.
And that the wild card teams are going to be the Astros, Orioles, and Yankees.
Ugh.
And that Ohtani gets traded to the Yanks at the deadline, and then the NL wild card is the Dodgers, Braves, and Phillies. Okay.
I don't think Ohtani's going anywhere right now.
Who'd you see, James? I'm sorry.
Let me switch them up then. Let me have Arizona. Let me have. Damn. Does San Francisco fall or does Philadelphia fall? I'm gonna go Arizona, Philadelphia, and San Diego.
Ooh. So you're taking the Giants out.
Yeah, I think it's wild how they're doing this well, but can it be sustainable? I don't know.
Okay. All right. Mess around. The NL wild card. I think he froze again. So
Giants, Brewers, and Phillies.
Giants, Brewers, and Phillies. Okay. Crispy.
I'll go Giants, Brewers, and Philly.
All right. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go the Dodgers because I had the Giants winning the West. So I'm gonna go. I'm going Dodgers are gonna get in there, and I'm gonna go. As much as I hate to say it, I think the Phillies are gonna get in on the wild card. I think they have too much talent, and I'm kind of going back and forth on that final wild card spot that's coming down between. Personally, I thought it was going to come down between the Reds and the D-backs, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm taking the D-backs. So those are my wild card picks here. All right, so now that our picks are locked into place, we're pretty much at that time now to where we're ready to wrap up the show. So, Crispy Bacon, any final thoughts for you, sir?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Football season's coming back soon. I think we're having on deck a couple weeks. This weekend, most likely going to be between on deck and join us for Between the Ropes Tuesdays.
All right, Mess Around. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's always great to be on a Sports Minute. Thanks for watching. I love the show.
All right, and then James.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. I like it. All right. So we definitely want to thank everybody for watching. It's been another great episode, and we will see you guys all next week on Wednesday for another episode of Sports Minute. So have a great night.